Hello my friends.
Welcome all guests of the fair.
Today we are going to tell you about the best decks in ranked, standard and wild, as well as describe meta changes after the nerf.
Finally, we've prepared a list of the top 20 decks for each class. 6 cards have been changed in the latest standard balance update. The greatest damage was inflicted on demon hunters, but this was not enough to completely destroy them. The nerfs ended up slightly weakening demon hunter strategies, which was enough to nearly halve the number of demon hunters in the meta game. In addition to standard, the changes had an impact on wild mode, as the changed cards were used in some popular decks here as well.
Enough time has passed since the nerf to determine the most effective decks. In order to do this, we studied meta reports and statistics from popular resources.
Let's start with Druid. This class has one of the most diverse sets of strategies, but they all seem rather weak. Thanks to Darkmoon Faire, we got Clown Druid and Cthulhu Druid, but Guardian Druid is still the best option. The expansion added several new cards to the once formidable deck. There were absolutely no changes to the deck after the nerf, and the deck is still quite expensive. You will need 2 legendary cards and 8 epic cards to craft this deck.
In wild, you don't have a very wide variety of druid strategies to choose from. The best choice as always is aggro druid.
This deck definitely has the fastest start in the game. You can literally get up to 5 minions on your first turn. The main problem with this archetype is resources. The Voracious Reader nerf weakened the deck a bit, leading to a loss in efficiency and popularity, but the deck is still perfect for moving quickly through the ranks.
Warlock is probably the worst class in the standard meta. Gul'dan simply doesn't have many strategies, and almost none of them are efficient. Control, Galakrond and Zoo strategies are still competing for the title of best deck, but their effectiveness is about the same.
Control Warlock is still the most popular archetype, but Zoo Warlock actually shows slightly better performance. Even though the nerf weakened Demon Hunter, Zoo has still failed to become the best aggressive archetype. The only significant advantage of this deck is its relatively low cost. In wild mode, Warlock remains very popular and diverse. Discard Warlock is still a top pick. This deck has one of the best win rates at the lower ranks of the game.
Next on the list is Priest. This class has become one of the most ineffective classes in the standard meta.
The Darkmoon Faire expansion has brought back the big priest archetype, which is the only strategy that can fight for survival in the meta game. The deck is very expensive, but there are no better options for priests. If you love exciting gameplay, I recommend that you try Miracle Priest with Cthulhu. This archetype is new. The deck has a terrible win rate but is quite fun. In wild mode, the priest's position is much better. You have a choice of 2 very popular strategies, Highlander and Big. A lot of people recommend using the Highlander, but in my opinion the Big Priest is a little more effective, primarily due to the large number of cheap removals that help to withstand a lot of aggressive decks.
The Warrior has become the most diverse class in the game, and at the same time the least popular, although many archetypes have decent performance in the meta game. ETC Warrior is rapidly losing popularity, while Bomb Warrior is at the top again.
The deck has hardly changed since the release of Darkmoon Faire. The only new tool is Minefield. Pirate Warrior remains the best warrior deck in wild. The deck got Sword Eater from the new expansion. This new tool is another strong pirate that provides an additional weapon for the variety of buffs in the deck.
Before we continue, we want to remind you that we cannot create content without your support. We will be infinitely grateful to you for sponsoring or liking this video, and subscribing to the channel.
Now let's talk about Mage. The class has very low efficiency in standard mode, but this absolutely does not prevent it from remaining one of the most popular classes in the game. The no minions Mage and small spell Mage archetypes have very low win rates. Highlander is performing slightly better, but not enough to influence the metagame. Secret Mage remains the only effective archetype. A new reincarnation of this archetype became possible only thanks to new cards in Darkmoon Faire. This deck is the best choice but unfortunately continues to slowly decline in popularity.
In wild mode, Secret Mage continues to terrorize the meta game. This is one of the most popular and effective archetypes. Thanks to the new expansion, the deck has almost lost its shortcomings. Mages are now able to draw cards without the help of Alanath. The deck has been strong for a long time, but now it has become too strong.
The Demon Hunter is indestructible. It looks like the nerfs were not able to inflict really significant damage on him, every time he manages to recover and return to the top. Of course, the last nerf weakened the class, and he is no longer the leader in the meta game, but he still remains in the top 3 most popular classes and one of the most effective. Aggro Demon Hunter is still the most effective. Nerfs have not changed the deck at all. In addition, some players use this version without modification in wild mode. According to HS Replay, this version has a slightly higher win rate than Odd Demon Hunter.
Rogue has a wide range of strategies, some of which are quite effective, but the secret Rogue lost its leadership position after losing to a completely new strategy.
The combo Rogue is built around the unique Whirl Kickmaster effect. When you play a combo card, you get a random combo card placed into your hand. This effect is especially good in the late game. In addition, the deck has tools that resist aggressive decks well. The deck shows excellent results against almost all opponents, except for Evolve Shaman, and this is the main drawback.
Despite this, Combo Rogue is my favorite deck from this list, since this deck is a new wind in the current monotonic meta.
For wild mode, Kingsbane Rogue is the best deck, although its popularity is poor. New cards have perfectly complemented one of the most popular decks in the past. Though it looks like the best days of this archetype are far behind.
Of course it's the right way.
The Shaman is in 3rd place. The class has a large number of different aggressive archetypes, and is the most popular in the game.
Foremost among the archetypes is Evolve Shaman, this the most popular of the popular decks in the current meta. After the nerf, the deck continues to grow in popularity. The deck is capable of making incredibly powerful turns, creating a lot of serious threats. The deck is good against almost all enemies except Aggro Demon Hunter and the decks that are higher on our list. In wild mode, some players are trying to use the standard version of Evolve Shaman. The wild deck is absolutely no different from the standard version, but this does not prevent it from showing good results. Evolve Shaman is very low popularity and has had little impact on the wild meta.
A few words about the Paladin. This class is still one of the most effective in the game.
Almost all archetypes perform very well in standard mode, but pure Paladin is still the best. The deck hasn't changed at all since the release of Scholomance Academy and does an excellent job without using tools from the new expansion. In wild mode, Odd Paladin is the best archetype as always. Several new cards appeared in the deck that made the deck even more powerful.
It's time to talk about the Hunter. This class also has a wide selection of effective strategies, but despite this the Hunter is gradually losing popularity. Face Hunter is still the most popular archetype, but Highlander Hunter remains more effective.
The deck is incredibly robust against most archetypes. The worst opponents are still Aggro Demon Hunter and Pure Paladin. But after the nerf, the number of Aggro Demon Hunter decreased significantly. Combo Rogue may turn out to be another serious opponent in the future. For this reason we do not expect Highlander Hunter to stay at the top for long. In wild mode, the Hunter's affairs are much worse. It is one of the most unpopular classes. You can use the same version of Highlander Hunter in wild. According to HS Replay statistics, the deck is quite effective at low ranks. There is no new data on other archetypes yet.
Let's begin to draw some conclusions. Despite the balance changes, there was no radical change in the meta. Most of the new strategies from Darkmoon Faire are still too weak and definitely need more support.
Too often, the most effective strategies are old strategies that hardly use new cards. However, the meta does continue to slowly evolve, which is very good. But Darkmoon Faire has failed to shake up the meta to the same extent as previous expansions. For this reason, we do not recommend buying and opening Darkmoon Faire packs before the mini set is released. We even made a separate video with statistics on this topic.
I can't say the current meta is bad, but I got tired of standard mode too quickly. I really don't like the idea of paid mini sets, but to be honest, I'm looking forward to the release of the mini set with great impatience, as I have very high hopes for new cards. Over the past few weeks, I've been spending more and more time in wild mode. Unfortunately, the mode has not received the attention it deserves from the developers. The best decks tend to be the same strategies that don't change much from year to year. Some players think this is an advantage, but I don't think so.
Dear viewers, what do you think of the current metagame in different modes? We conducted a survey before the nerf and only 6% of players were completely satisfied with the metagame in the standard format. Are you happy with the balance changes? Has your experience of the meta changed after the nerfs? Please share your opinion in the comments and also take part in polls on our community tab.
This time we created 2 polls about the wild and standard modes. We are very interested to know your opinion.
Finally, we want to express our boundless appreciation to our YouTube sponsors. Dear friends, your help is invaluable to us. Many thanks to each of you.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for text editing.
We will meet in new videos.
Good luck.